Hello everyone, and welcome to part 5 of The Firework Maker's Daughter by Philip Pullman. At the end of part 4 of the story, Lila said of Mount Merapi, "I belong to that mountain, and it belongs to me." But do you know whether Mount Merapi is a real volcano in our world or just a volcano in the story? I will tell you at the end of this video. And on she went, with no other thoughts in her mind but that, and excitement putting a spring in her step. Meanwhile, Chulak was getting ready to smuggle Hamlet out of his new home. The master had gone to bed early, groaning, but the slaves were still awake and Chulak had to distract them. "Now listen," he said to them in the kitchen. "You know you've got to do all that you can to please the great white elephant, or else the king will be cross." They all nodded. "Well, the elephant's a bit restless. He never sleeps well the first night in a new place, so we'll have to play a game of elephant's footsteps to cheer him up. You have to go and hide your eyes in the garden, and when you think you can hear him coming, turn around. He likes playing that. Go on, go and wait in the garden, and I'll tell him when you're ready." The slaves all streamed out to the back door, and as soon as they were hiding in the garden with their eyes shut, Chulak unlocked the front door and he led Hamlet out to the gate. "It's a good thing they put down that carpet I ordered," he whispered, "because you don't half make a row on the gravel." "Can we go past the zoo?" Hamlet whispered. "No, of course not. Never mind Frangipani, it's Lila we've got to think about. And stop breathing so heavily." They tiptoed out of the gate and found Lal Chand waiting there with a tarpaulin, just as Chulak had asked. "What's it for?" Lal Chand whispered. "For this," said Chulak, and made Hamlet kneel down to have it laid over his back, so he doesn't show up so much in the dark. Grumbled Hamlet. "It's hot and scratchy. It smells like a marquee. Couldn't you find a nice blanket?" "I don't think you realise your own size," Chulak said. "Do be careful," said Lal Chand. "I ought to come with you. It's not a safe journey at all. Oh, I should have told Lila everything from the start. I should have trusted her. What a foolish old man I am." "Yeah," said Chulak. "Still, never mind, we'll find her. Come on, Hamlet." And they set off. Lal Chand stood watching them for a minute until they had disappeared in the dark streets. But someone was watching Lal Chand. One of the slaves who'd come to play elephant's footsteps was hiding under a bush nearby, and as soon as he realised what he'd seen, he began to tremble. Helping the white elephant to escape was a terrible crime. There'd be a terrible punishment, and there might be a great reward for the person who pointed out the criminal. So when Lal Chand began to trudge homewards, the slave silently followed him to find out who he was and where he lived. Chulak and Hamlet walked all night, and when morning came, they slept in a little valley under some thick trees. They woke up in the afternoon, and while Hamlet browsed on the leaves, Chulak went to the nearest village to ask the way to the Emerald Lake. He came back with an armful of bananas and some news. "Guess what, Hamlet? We're in luck. This is the night of the full moon. The water goddess comes out of the lake and she grants people's wishes. It couldn't be better, my boy. Finish your leaves and let's be moving." They weren't the only people going to the Emerald Lake. The jungle paths were busy with families carrying picnic baskets, and even a troop of monkeys was heading in the same direction. Just before the sun set, Chulak and Hamlet saw a young man busily pinning up notices on the trees beside the path. Chulak was about to read one when the young man caught sight of him. "Hey, I know you," he said. "And him." "We know lots of people," said Chulak. "Is this the right way for the Emerald Lake?" "It's just along there. Here, can I, The young man looked bashful. Chulak knew what he wanted. "Kneel down, Hamlet," he said. "Customer." Hamlet couldn't say anything with the young man there, but he gave Chulak a severe look as he knelt down. The young man daubed something on Hamlet's side with a stick and some mud, and he gave Chulak a coin. "Thanks," he said. "Wait till I tell the boss." And he ran off. Chulak read what he'd written. "Eat at Rambashi's Jungle Grill." "Rambashi," Chulak said. "I've got an uncle Rambashi. He used to be a chicken farmer." The notices on the trees were advertising the Jungle Grill as well. It was opening that very night, and there were meals at half price if you brought in a voucher from one of the notices. "Oh, it'd be nice to see Uncle Rambashi again," Chulak said. "Come on, it'll be dark in a minute." They hurried on. Soon they came out on the shores of the Emerald Lake. Under the trees at the edge of the water, there stood some houses on stilts with cooking fires and coloured lanterns, and as the tropical darkness covered the sky in less than 5 minutes, Chulak and Hamlet entered the village. Naturally, a white elephant with an advertisement written on him caused a sensation, and soon Chulak and Hamlet were being followed by a crowd of excited children and some older people with nothing else to do. Even the troupe of dancers getting into their costumes for the ceremony couldn't resist, and the dancing mistress had to run after them with her mouthful of safety pins to pull them back and scold them. "Which way to Rambashi's Jungle Grill?" Chulak asked. And someone pointed along the shore to where a wooden building stood on stilts over the water. There was a terrace with coloured flags and tables with checkered tablecloths and lamps made out of wine bottles, and a cloud of smoke was coming from the kitchen with the sounds of sizzling and bubbling and the smell of grilling meat and fish and spices. "Just in time, Hamlet. What do you think of that? And that's Uncle Rambashi," said Chulak. Rambashi, wearing a white apron over his tartan sarong, was ushering some customers onto the terrace when he saw Chulak. "Chulak, my boy, how delightful to see you. And your pet? This excellent mobile advertising billboard. Come in, dear boy. Voucher? Oh, don't bother with that. Free food for everyone in honour of the ceremony of the full moon. Of course, I'll lose money on it, but we'll soon make it up. It's wonderful publicity. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Free meals tonight." "What about us?" said a waiter. "When do we get our supper?" "Customers first," said Rambashi. "You and the boys can have as much as you like later on." "I thought you were in the chicken business," said Chulak, tucking into a big plate of prawns and rice in satay sauce. "Yeah, but I had to give that up. Felt sorry for the ends." "So we took to the transport business for a while, river taxi, with some freelance work on the side. But then came the opportunity to invest in the restaurant trade, where my talents truly lie, Chulak. Yes, madam, our grilled lake trout is exquisite tonight. May I suggest some saffron rice to accompany it and a flask of jasmine wine? Oh, yes, it's all free, no charge. Compliments of the house." The Jungle Grill was certainly doing good business, or would have been if Rambashi had been charging for it. "I hope he knows what he's doing, Hamlet," Chulak said, as the elephant browsed quietly on the banyan tree that overspread the terrace. "He reckons it will be such good publicity that they'll come back when he starts charging, but I'm not so sure. Still, the food is good. Smoky, but tasty." Rambashi's cook was having trouble with the grill, which he kept having to throw water over when it got too hot. Clouds of smoke and steam kept billowing out, and the waiters rushed to and fro with full plates and dirty plates and flasks of wine and menus and coconuts full of ice cream. Meanwhile, the village elders were preparing the lakeshore for the full moon ceremony. Trulac and Hamlet, full of supper, wandered along to have a look. The sand was swept and smoothed, lanterns were hung in the trees, and blossoms of all colours were scattered on the water. The path from the temple to the lake was crowded, several deep on either side, and Trulac had to climb on Hamlet's back in order to see. Then the ceremony began. A great drum sounded 3 times, and an orchestra began to play. Gongs and xylophones and drums and cymbals and flutes. A line of dancers came out of the temple and swayed down the path towards the lake, their fingernails snapping and flicking like fireflies, and their golden skirts shimmering in the lantern light. The head man of the village struck a light and lit a scented candle in a paper boat, which he floated out onto the lake. The incense made the air sweet and rich. Very soon, other paper boats were floating out to join it, and then a little child pointed at the treetops on the far side of the dark lake and said, "Moon!" The full moon was rising, and as it rose, the music rose too. The gongs and the xylophones and the cymbals all summoning the goddess from the lake. And we will stop and we will meet the goddess next time. Before we go, do you think that Mount Merapi is a real volcano on our Earth, or a made-up volcano, a fictional volcano for the story? The answer is that it is a real volcano. Why not challenge yourself to find the country where Mount Merapi can be found? Look on YouTube and you'll be able to see Mount Merapi exploding and shooting out its fire demons, just like in the story. And I will see you again in a couple of days' time. Bye-bye.